was supposed to be the happiest time of year, but this time, the founder of this whole network vanished without a single trace. And after several months of thorough investigation, the search has been called off. Franklin Hall, better known to his community as Gravoton, is officially declared dead. So what do we do now? Do we move on without the heart and soul of this channel? Well, I believe his legacy needs to continue. I present to you the first ever annual award show only for the villains. This is the 2018 Villys.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the host of tonight's ceremonies, Frederick Dukes, aka the Blob.
Please, no applause, please. Your gratitude is praise enough, please. I don't deserve this pre-recorded soundbite of an applause, please. But we here on this channel all agreed that the legacy of Gravoton needed to continue, especially since while he was alive, he wasn't really doing it much himself, because when he first made videos on this channel, it was about movies. But then, of course, he grew and evolved, and eventually he focused just on the villains. And then there was a point where he focused on just nothing. He didn't talk about movies at all. But don't misunderstand me when I say this. He was not lazy. He just was a procrastinator. He kept thinking like, oh, I'll get back to this. I'll get back to talking about movie villains, because it's all about equal opportunity. Yes, this has been a year all about that. All walks of life getting their moment to shine. He just never got around to actually doing it again. We tried to do it month by month last year, but it somehow fell through. And then we thought, oh, wait a minute, how about if we just go every 6 months and talk about the villains of those 6 months? And then that fell through too. Instead, we will do this yearly. And then he disappeared before he could ever put that in fruition. And then that's when I had the idea that if we do go ahead with this plan of reviewing the whole year, then it might as well be an award show. And here we are, at the very first Villys, hopefully the first of many, many, many to come. This is how we'll keep his legacy alive. I mean, I know his biggest passion was interviewing fellow supervillains, but I'm not really the interviewee type, and everyone pointed me to carry this legacy, so I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it my own way, alright? I mean, that's what he would have wanted. He would have wanted us to be dicks about his death, because he was a dick about Bludnovsky's death, that's for sure, Jesus Christ. Alright, well, we can't be like those other award shows that go like 15 hours past the scheduled end point. We gotta wrap this shit up as soon as possible. So here we go. Please give a warm round of pre-recorded applause to Teenage Scarecrow and the second Count Vertigo.
Who the hell are you? And why are you acting like you know me?
You don't recognize me? It has been a long time since we've last talked. You have grown so much since I've last seen you. You have bloomed into a beautiful butterfly.
Don't take credit for my success. The reason why I turned out this way is because I was on my own. This has nothing to do with you.
It seems as though that you have adopted the skill of scaling people, manipulating their mind into seeing their worst fears.
Yeah, but that's because I learned them from my dead dad. It has nothing to do with you. What have you done since all that time?
Mostly I am on this airplane that keeps going back and forth from LA to New York every Sunday on the Fox channel. But that is no excuse for your bad behavior. You need to respect your elders. I've raised you better than that.
No you didn't. You have no idea what it means to be the personification of people's fears. You only make people fear stuff. You aren't the actual fear.
Oh, so are you meaning to tell me that all of the nominees would be better role models to you than me?
Yeah, probably.
Ugh, I can't believe what I am hearing. Let's see who these bozos are, so that I can properly judge them.
Okay, fine. Let's look at the nominees. For Pirates of the Caribbean 5, Captain Salazar.
For the emoji movie, Smile,
For Dunkirk, the Nazis.
And for it, they should be more specific. What is it? Pennywise. I guess you are right. Those guys are way better at their job scaling their enemies than I am. I rely on a drug to do it.
I've gotta be honest with you, Mr. Vertigo. I kind of use a drug too.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not proud of it. Mine is, inhaled.
Ugh, mine is done through a syringe. Yours is more efficient. It's less messy and less painful.
Aw, man, thanks. Hey, maybe we should hang out some more.
Yes, some brother bonding.
It's more like son-grandson quality time.
After all, I've got nothing better to do with my time, since Keaton James won't let me into his little Legion of Doom that he's got going on Arrow.
Well, who needs them? And who needs Gotham, for that matter? We've got a group of dumb teenagers to scare.
But don't you want to reveal awards first?
Alright. So the first award goes to...
Ooh, they're pausing for dramatic effect. That gives me enough time to speculate who's gonna win. Alright, let's see here. I mean, it's super obvious who has to win. I mean, the Nazis. But I'm not talking about the conditions outside of the movie. Within the movie, they're not a character. They're an idea. And as Batman has proven, concepts can be way more scarier than any living person, and that is why we never saw them. Well, except for maybe right at the end, but that was only to confirm that yes, there are Nazis in the movie, but still it was very stylistic when we saw them, because they are a force of nature, a horrible nature, a fucked up nature that shouldn't even be, but still, they're a force. I think the other candidates are great and all, like Captain Salazar, who also stands for an idea, the idea of the inevitable death of Jack Sparrow. Even though everyone's death is inevitable, Jack can't accept that. He spent this whole franchise trying to find all of these MacGuffins to keep him from dying. So the one villain that's gonna remind him that this is the end is the one that he has to thank for becoming the legendary Jack Sparrow in the first place. Salazar is literally coming back to haunt him. But it's too bad he can't fulfill that purpose. I mean, that was his job. He was the exterminator of pirates. We didn't have that before. We just had pirates and people who controlled pirates. But now that we actually have a legitimate anti-pirate villain, he gets lost in a typhoon. I mean, maybe he makes up for that in the fact that we actually do get the death of a beloved character in this franchise, but we know that's a cop-out. Oh, we can't kill Jack, we need him for Pirates 6, where we get Davy Jones back. So let's kill the main character that's less marketable. Who else do we have? Smiler, the emoji, because she's way too creepy to be in a kid's movie, but not creepy enough to be that type of creepy that you remember when you were a kid, like Beetlejuice, or Who Framed Roger Rabbit, or Willy Wonka. So that's why she definitely won't win. And of course you got Pennywise there, because we gotta have at least one horror villain in there, you know, one that's actual horror and not just scary. By the way, I know some people will probably be disappointed that there weren't that many horrors in any of the nominations, but that's because, well, keep in mind it's our taste, and if we don't want to watch horror movies, then we don't have to, you know? I already get stressed out enough as it is. I don't want to get stressed out in the movie theater too. Although the horror villain that we did choose isn't even that much of a horror villain. He's more of a dark fantasy villain, or a dark sci-fi villain. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's still scary as all fuck, but at the same time he's also kind of hilarious in how stupid he sounds. I mean, he sounds like SpongeBob when he's talking to Gary. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? See, he sounds exactly like that, so that's kind of hard to be scared by. But then again, his redeeming quality is that he murders children and has them float. And besides, literally everywhere else on the internet is praising the shit out of Pennywise. So why not give it to someone who's got less of the spotlight? Like the Nazis. I mean the Dunkirk Nazis. Specifically the Dunkirk Nazis and only the Dunkirk Nazis, okay?
The Nazis.
Yeah! What the fuck did I say? I predicted the shit out of that win. Enough celebrating. I gotta get back up there.
Typical award show. Always snubbing the most obvious winner. Couldn't they have recognized that there was an homage going with me, harkening back to the original Psycho film, of the slasher villain taking on a woman's persona?
You've probably noticed a few omissions tonight, and allow me to clear a few of them up. So first, there's the issue of the lack of supervillains. And here's the thing about that. We're the supervillains, all of us. Now, of course, there's a lot of politics over what counts as a supervillain and what doesn't, because there are technically a lot of supervillains in movies that aren't about superheroes. I mean, Captain Salazar, I mean, he's got, like, ghost powers and shit. And there's a lot of other characters tonight in the nominee list that would also qualify as supervillain. But what we specify as a supervillain on this channel is if you are indeed the villain of a superhero movie, like me, and like all of the other presenters you will see throughout this night. And since this channel is ran by supervillains and stars supervillains, we thought that it was probably a good idea to omit all of the supervillains from the nominee list. I am sorry about that, so you might notice a gap in a few places. So my apologies to Donald Pierce and Ego and Hella and Adrian Toombs and Ares and Steppenwolf, even though those last two are basically the same person. We're trying to be like those other big award shows, you know, show equal opportunity. And since we already offer so much opportunity to the supervillains of this channel, we thought that we would save a whole night just for all of those other villains. But I know what you're thinking. Oh, another typical award show that ignores the superhero movies. Let's use this as an opportunity to shine the limelight on all types of villains that wouldn't get this exposure otherwise. Well, I mean on this channel, you know, they get their exposure like everywhere else, but I'm talking about this channel. We're talking about the politics within this channel. And this will be the only award show that talks about just those types of politics and no other politics.
Oh man, I wanted to be pissed off.
And as for those other snubs that you've noticed, don't worry, we'll explain those too. But first, here are the next presenters. From The Flash, and by Flash I mean the TV Flash, not the movie Flash that we'll probably never see, Trickster Sr. and Jr.
Wow, did you see that beautiful example of father-son relationships we've just witnessed with that Count Vertigo fellow and his lovely Scarecrow son? That gives us a run for our money, doesn't it? I can't believe you. What is it, son?
You're just acting like everything is just peachy keen between you and me. Well, it's not. You have failed as a father. You weren't there when I needed you most.
Well, you see, son, I have a busy life. Being a trickster such as myself is a very demanding job, and it's very time-consuming. You've got to get the trick just right. I apologize if I couldn't have enough time. It's very hard to juggle that with being a father.
Bullshit! You managed to have a guest appearance on The Flash every single season. Sure, your appearance would be more brief each time you showed up, but you always had time for that season. But now that you can't show up for a season, it just so happens to be when I come back, your son. I haven't been on The Flash since season 1. I thought that with my long-awaited reappearance on the show, you would be there to support me. But you weren't. You are a deadbeat dad. You always were.
One more person I've disappointed. How much more complaining and bitching and moaning am I going to have to endure? I already had to deal with a whole lot of that in December. Well, you should have shown up instead of leaving my mother to be the guest star instead. I mean, come on. My mother? Prank? Hey, she's a classic character, too. Yeah, but it's not the same as having you come back. You're an icon. It means a lot for you to come back. Whereas with my mother, it's considerate that we would think about that obscure of a character to come back, but all it does is just make us think, it's weird how they got this character back, but we can't have the first Trickster back? Like, that's all that it makes us do, is it just makes us want you even more. Because then it would be a whole family reunion. Well, I've got a lot of spare time now that I am a Force ghost a long, long time ago, far, far away. Maybe there's room in my schedule to return. You mean it? That means we can have a full-on reunion and not just half-ass it? Maybe, son. Maybe. Yes! That means we'll get to make even more people laugh, while at the same time screaming in terror. Yes, just like these nominees. For Smurfs the Lost Village, Gargamel. For Despicable Me 3, Balthazar Barat. For Logan Lucky, Max. And for the Lego Ninjago movie, Lord Garmadon. No, that's the hero of the movie. It's my accent. It makes it sound like I'm saying Lloyd, but I'm saying Lord. Wait a minute, my personal assistant off screen is telling me something. What is that? Oh? I could be in the third Guardians of the Galaxy? I'll take it. No! No! This was supposed to be funny, but now it's sad. Well, before I seal the deal with James Gunn, the winner is...
Wow, this isn't a very good selection. Kind of lackluster, if you ask me. It isn't that they're lackluster themselves, they're just from lackluster movies. I mean, Gargamel, yeah, I bet he was probably one of the best things about the Smurfs movie, plus the fact that we don't have to look at horrifying Simpsons guy who's racist to Indians. So there's that, and plus he is very relatable. He's probably the most relatable guy in the movie, because he's like the average guy who's just trying to do some shit, you know. And the fact that he was trying to schedule when he was going to capture the Smurfs, and he kept rescheduling later and later into the day, like, oh my god, that's like the most relatable thing ever, especially for me. Like, holy shit, this guy's exactly like me. So maybe he'll win in regards to that, but then you have Balthazar Barat. Now that guy, he is an embodiment of like the entire pop culture right now. Everything right now is like, oh, we love the 80s. Weren't the 80s awesome? I wish I could live in the 80s instead of this shit time. I wanna have sex with the 80s! And he represents that, but in a negative way. And isn't that the best type of villain? The one that makes us look at ourselves and realize, maybe we shouldn't be that way. Okay, so then we have Max. Wait a minute, he's the only live-action villain in this category. Well, he's a trailblazer. Now we'll introduce the 3 cartoons and 1 real person. Oh, shade! Oh, I know that he was probably really annoying in Logan Lucky, and he does not represent Seth MacFarlane at his best. No, that's the Orville. This, on the other hand, is it's not his worst, but you can see his effort for making a likably unlovable character. You know, just a likable douchebag, and you can see his effort, but he doesn't get his comeuppance enough. You know, there's not enough ass beating, because he sort of kind of wins at the end, because the brothers of Logan Lucky, they're not fully off the hook at the end of that movie, so we didn't get to see his satisfying comeuppance, so that was disappointing, and finally we got Lord Garmadon. Oh boy. Oh, Lord Garmadon. Maybe if we didn't have such great examples of Lego villains like Will Ferrell as the Big Business and Zach Galifianakis as the Joker, the Lego Joker, not the other Joker who may or may not be here tonight. Oh, but this guy, on the other hand, he doesn't really live up to those other two Lego villains. He really doesn't, because those two were the embodiment of a comical villain, but a relatable villain. I mean, neither of them were that menacing or really that intimidating, but they were relatable is the thing, and they tried, oh boy did they try with Lord Garmadon, but by the time they got to him, it feels like a formula now. It feels factory made. It just feels like we're going through the motions now with these villains. So I'm afraid that he had to suffer from that. Like, if he was like the first or second, maybe we wouldn't feel that way about him, but we do now, so that is disappointing. Well, but who knows? Maybe we'll see them on the 100 brick race, or whatever the hell that movie's called. Oh, well, I'm assuming it's like wacky races, but with Legos. So see you then, Lord Garmadon, but for now, I'm afraid you're not gonna win, buddy. I'm putting my money on... You know what? I'm putting my money on Balthazar. I'm putting my money on Balthazar.
Gargamel!
Wow, really? Huh. I guess people thought that Balthazar was too much of an insult to them. They were all like, no, our obsession with the 1980s is healthy. It's not sexual at all. Fuck you, Balthazar.
Man, I don't know about this category. I really don't know. Why they gotta do funniest villain? That didn't need no category. I'll tell you what category there should be. The best wardrobe of a villain. I don't even care if I get it or not. What I care about is that their aspect of villainy gets respected. Although I do make sure that they do not give the award to Michael Pena from Wrinkle in Time, because that was way tacky.
You might have noticed that, that we kind of go for, like, the extra popular movies to, get the nominees from, and that's because, you know, we're going by what we saw as a collective community, and these were the movies that we saw, so that's why we're nominating just them. And so if there's any omissions that you notice, it's because we probably just couldn't get around watching that movie for whatever reason, whether it be like money, because money is a concern, you know. But it's not just about money, it's also a matter of interest, like what interests us. And these are the movies that interested us. Granted, some of them were by obligation, because we're like, okay, well, since we saw these other movies, we have to watch this one. So you might see some sucky movies, and you'll probably wonder, like, wow, this guy has bad taste. Well, so some of them were like morbid curiosity, but you're mostly only gonna see that in one particular category. But there is one omission that I think I have to clarify specifically, and that is Valerian. Valerian has not been nominated for anything, and that's not because we thought it was sucky or because we didn't bother seeing it. Well, you see, we want each villain to be a good representation of the movie they're from. And the problem with Valerian is that the villain of that movie is not a good representation at all. He's just some generic corrupted military general guy. Like, that's it, that's all he is. And not to mention he's a human. I mean that movie's all about aliens and high concept sci-fi stuff and all of this like interdimensional shopping and shape-shifting prostitutes and submarine pirates and all of this and your villain for all that is gonna be this guy, just a normal human? Like, that's not a good representation of all. And I know what you're thinking, well then why not nominate the other villain of that movie? John Goodman's character. He was a better villain, even though we saw significantly less of him. Well, you see, he already had his time to shine on this channel, and you can find it here. Yep, we just figured how that shit works. So, technically, Valerian has already had its spotlight on this channel. Let's get back to it. Here's our next presenter. And much like me, he used to be very prominent on this YouTube channel. But because of a lot of retooling and reimagining, he had to be put to the sidelines. But now he's ready to get back to action. From the Kick-Ass movies, Red Mist.
Come on, that's not my name. It's Motherfucker. Motherfucker. This channel had no chance of monetization before, so we might as well curse. And if there's anyone who has a reason to curse, it's me. It's been a long time since you've seen me on this channel, and a lot has happened. A lot of bad things. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh no, he lost his limbs. Well, here's the thing. I already lost my limbs. It's just that you never noticed because I had prosthetics. And since I wear a full body costume, you couldn't tell that they weren't real arms and legs. But then I decided to buy another shark. Yeah, you remember the second Kick-Ass movie when I had that shark and it ate me? A lot of people legitimately thought I was dead, and they probably still think that I'm dead. Well, wrong. Because if you were one of the nice, smart people who stayed till after the credits, you would have found out that I am still kicking. Well, not literally, of course, because the shark took my legs and my arms. But now you're probably thinking, like, okay, so if you had prosthetics, then how did you lose those arms and legs? Well, I decided to buy another shark, and I thought this one would be a good shark that wouldn't eat my arms and legs. But oh boy, was I wrong. But the joke's on him, because that's gonna be really hard to pass through his asshole. It's not like actual arms and legs that are digestible. He is going to die on the toilet. Take that, shark! But you know, I should be lucky. I need to count my blessings. There's a lot of villains who aren't as lucky. They don't have the luxury of relying on a after-credit scene to come back. If you stay till after the credits of any of these movies, you won't see those villains coming back, and it's a real shame. And what's an even bigger shame is that we don't have big enough of a budget to include an in memoriam section, although maybe that's for the better, because that would be way too long. I mean, come on, we're villains. Practically most of us die in our movies already. So we decided to combine that with another potential award. Best death. From Baby Driver, Buddy. From War for the Planet of the Apes, the Colonel. From Kingsman 2, Poppy. Oh, I'm Poppy. No, not that Poppy. And from Jumanji, Van Pelt.
Then I need you to take 2 of these, just 2, remember, and make sure it is through your ass, okay? That is very important, okay? I don't need you calling me at 4 a.m. in the morning telling me, oh, Dr. Poison, these drugs you gave me, they are making me die. Well, that's because you didn't put it up your ass.
Yes, Doctor, I understand.
I'll see you in 1 month for your next checkup.
Thanks again for meeting me here. I know this is a really weird time to call you, but it was an emergency. I need my pain pills. The nubs still hurt. It's been like 5 frickin' years and I can still feel the pain.
You know, you could sign the do not resuscitate clause. It does seem like that might be the only way to stop your pain.
I don't want to kill myself. I should cherish my life. I mean, sure, it sucks right now, but any life is worth continuing if that life wants to continue. And I want to. I have plenty of more people to annoy.
I see. You don't want to be like these dead people, especially the winner.
Yeah, and speaking of which, the winner is...
You know, I think these nominees were just put together because there was nowhere else to put these. So we're like, oh, well, they all died, so there's that. Well, let's see what we got here. We got Buddy from Baby Driver. You know, I don't feel like this is the right place for him because he feels like a really great overall villain. Because he starts out as just one of the guys, just one of the goofballs who's best friends with the Baby Driver, who's like, oh, baby, you're adorable. And we see a whole bunch of other douchebags in the movie who are more likely to become an enemy of Baby, like John Bernthal and Jamie Foxx and Kevin... Never mind. But yeah, all of those guys seemed like more likely villains than John Hamm, and yet right when he gets his girlfriend crammed into that refrigerator, all of a sudden he's now the biggest enemy of the movie, and it's really surprising, like, holy shit. That would make him, like, the most likely to win in this category, because his death very much represents the movie as a whole. You know, Baby's love for the music and his reliance on it, because if he doesn't hear music, he's just gonna hear ringing due to a car accident. And how does Buddy die? A car accident! But that's not all. The best type of death a villain could possibly have is when they manage to slip in a fuck you to the hero right before they die. And how does Buddy do that? By shooting right next to Baby's ears. Sure, that didn't kill Baby, but it kept him away from his music. But there is a final fuck you that is better, and that is Poppy's fuck you. Yes, Poppy from the Kingsman. Now, Poppy, she isn't as good as Samuel L. Jackson from the first Kingsman. She doesn't live up to him. But she does give, like, the same amount of quirkiness, just in a different way, in a different way of being eccentric. You know, she's old-fashioned, and she treats her business like it's a family mom-and-pop company. Oh, it's just a nice little business. It's a nice little mom-and-pop restaurant. But what could make her win is that her death is the fuck you. She is the only person who knows the cure for the horrible epidemic everyone has. And when she dies, that means that no one knows the cure, and everyone is doomed. So that is why her death is more of a fuck you. Because by dying, she's screwed over everyone in the whole world. But much like Buddy's fuck you, it also gets repaired. Just like how in Baby Driver, somehow Baby can still hear music, I guess. Like, I thought that completely made him deaf, but apparently not, because he's still listening to music by the end, so maybe it is neither Buddy or Poppy. Maybe it's the Colonel, because his death is very tragic, and it's very meaningful to the overall Planet of the Apes franchise. You see, the reason why he killed himself is because he doesn't want to turn into those very simple-minded humans that we see in the 1960 movies. That is our inevitable future. So he decides that if that's his destined life, then he prefer to not be alive. And plus, it also shows that the hero is stronger than the villain. Caesar had the chance to kill the Colonel, but he didn't. Instead, he let the Colonel choose. He could have hid the gun away from the Colonel, because there was a chance that the Colonel could just shoot him as soon as the Colonel woke up from his sleep. But no. The Colonel decided, no, I have no reason to shoot this monkey. If I do, then that means I'm already the animal, and I might as well continue being a soulless animal. So instead, I'm just gonna stop it right now. Just really powerful stuff, really powerful stuff. Oh, but I'm ignoring Van Pelt. Oh, poor Van Pelt. I mean, he's probably like the best at the box office out of any of these. I mean, he's probably made the most money because he's in the friggin' Jumanji movie. Holy shit, everyone and their grandma and their grandma's prostitute saw that movie. His death was pretty good because it represented who he was as an overall character. That by attaining this magical gem, he was the controller of all animals. And that's always a great villain message, is that don't be too obsessed with your MacGuffin, because you might become that MacGuffin in a horrible way. And he wanted to be the animals. He wanted to be control of the animals and to see what the animals saw. And so because of that, as soon as he got defeated, he transformed into a bunch of mice and scurried away. All of the mice just scurried away. I'm not sure how that works. I'm not sure what the logic behind that is. Like, do they have his mind now? Like, is he in the mind of a bunch of mice now? Like, is that what's going on, or is he dead and it's like an ashes to ashes thing, and except the ashes are mice? Like, I'm not sure about that, but thematically it also works good, just not as well as the Colonel.
The Colonel!
Yep, 2 out of 3 ain't bad so far. I got it.
Well, the only thing that would make this worse is if a bunch of random celebrities rudely interrupted this program and threw food at us. That would be even less hygienic.
Now, much like our last presenter, a lot of people assumed that this guy was also dead. But you see, he's made out of electricity, so it was pretty easy for him to reform himself back to existence, despite his universe being rebooted, so it doesn't even matter if he's still alive or not. Electro!
Well, color me surprised. I thought for sure that you guys would get that Music Meister to be the presenter, and he is the quintessential musical villain. But luckily for me, fits that bill quite nicely.
Oh, please! The only reason why the Music Meister didn't show up is because he's too busy traveling cross-country to murder a fashion icon!
Who the fuck are you? You look like one of the rich people from the Hunger Games.
The name is Robby Rotten, and since the Meister couldn't make it, I have arrived to be his replacement.
Oh, now I remember you. You are a dead meme.
I'm not dead. I am very much alive. I just survived cancer, and I'm good to go.
Well, congratulations for beating cancer, but still, you're not relevant anymore.
Oh, what? Let me guess. You want me to instead ask you where the way is? Or complain about someone eating my spaghetti? Or maybe you want me to eat laundry cleaning supplies? Is that it? You want me to do that? I'm not a whore for the limelight, but I am a whore when it comes to musicals.
Okay, you might have the pipes, but do you have the music? Boo ba 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 bee, boo ba ba bee, boo boo boo, boo ba 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 bee, ba 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 bee, boom 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 boom, wah, boom wah.
Oh, I see. Dubstep.
Yep, dubstep. That's my secret weapon. And also the little voices inside of my head. They are also musical.
Well, I can't hear them, but I can see why you would be qualified. However, isn't it a little hypocritical of you to be criticizing my datedness, my lack of relevance, when you are using dubstep?
It has been a long time since we've seen a mainstream song use dubstep.
You know what you and I have in common? We are underground artists.
You're right. Who cares about the mainstream?
And who needs these nominees? I will perfect those songs.
From Beauty and the Beast, Gaston.
We are number one, yes, we are number one now. We are number one and will be forever now. Don't you tell me otherwise. We are number one.
From Coco, Ernesto de la Cruz.
We're number one. Don't you ever forget that we're number one. Till I die, that's what I am. I am number one. I'll murder you in your sleep, number one.
From... Wait a minute. Are you shitting me? Really? Okay. From the My Little Pony movie, Tempest.
I am number one. And why do you seem anti-brony? I will kill you for being anti-brony now. Because I am number one. I am number one.
And from the Disaster Artist, Tommy Wiseau.
I'm number one of the night. Oh, 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 oh. I get butt naked for spotlight. Oh, 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 oh.
You know, that was all fine and dandy, but aren't you supposed to have, like, a bunch of clones to back you up?
Who needs clones when I've got you, babe?
Oh my god, does this mean...
Yep, we're gonna start a band, and we're gonna show the mainstream record companies what's what.
That is what I like to hear. Let's go pave our way.
Yes, and maybe the winner will follow us. Who, by the way, is... Oh boy, we have Gaston. Now, in the original Beauty and the Beast, his musical number was very bellowing out. Like, it was the biggest thing about him was that song. And here, on the other hand, it feels more like an afterthought. Like, oh, wait a minute, like, this guy has to sing? This Dracula guy who created Wonder Woman? He has to sing? Oh, okay, we'll try to make him sing somehow. We'll try. And so the fact that the thing that he's nominated for feels like an afterthought, that means he probably won't win it. And also, overall, he didn't feel nearly as charismatic and the type of hateable where you hated the fact that you just kept falling in love with this douchebag, you know, because of how likably douchey he was. But this guy feels more like just douchey, and that's it, pretty much. So who else do we have? We have Tempest from My Little Pony. I'm really glad that managed to make it on there. I mean, I know a lot of people are probably going to have, like, gasps when they see that. They're going to be very befuddled, and they're going to be like, what the fuck? Well, what'd you see that for? And let's just chill. Let people like what they like. And plus, you would probably expect the brony in the house to be all like, oh, it should definitely be Tempest. But for me personally, there are a whole lot of villains in that TV show, in the My Little Pony series, that are a whole lot better than her, frankly. Like they did, like, the biggest one of all from the original generation, you know, Lord Tyrek. They did him on the show. Like, you would think that he would be saved for the movie, but nope, they decided to do their own thing in the movie and create their own character. But the problem with her is that she just feels like a repeat of other characters, and it's a shame too, because her song, as opposed to Gaston, her song is the best thing about her. Like, it's probably the best song out of all of these nominations. Like, it might be like one of the best villain songs, period, actually. It's really that good. That's a common trait of the show, is the high quality music numbers. I mean, hell, it sounds like it's right out of a rock opera. Holy fuck. It's just that it's a shame that it's attached to this really mediocre story, and her backstory plays out during this song, and it isn't nearly as good as the song itself. I lost my friends when I was a kid, and that's why I'm evil now. It doesn't offer us anything new, and they play it up like it's this very surprising, like, oh my god, like, overwhelming revelation. Even though, wait a minute, we've seen, like, villains with that backstory like 12 times on the show, so she's got that baggage. If only the storm monster that she worked for, the Storm King, if only he had a song, because he's a better villain overall. I mean, hell, he's even the one who dies at the end. Not Tempest. She survives, because of course they have to do the obligatory redeeming of the villain, but not him. He gets gruesomely torn to pieces. Granted, he has to become a statue first, but still, like, holy fuck, he's like obliterated. He kind of represents the toxic masculinity that feels like they need to hate My Little Pony to feel masculine about themselves. Like, My Little Pony is for little girls. I'm a man. I'm a manly man. I don't have any issues at all. Look at my big pecs and my big giant penis. That is definitely not microscopic. Okay, who else do we have? Ernesto de la Cruz. Now, the complicated thing with Ernesto's song, Remember Me, is that it's intended for the very emotional part of the movie. You know, it's like the equivalent of Jesse's backstory song or the beginning of Up. You know, it's much like those scenes, but it's not just meant for that scene. What's really interesting about this song is that it can be used for a whole bunch of different contexts, like not just for that tragic backstory context, but also at the end for the context of like the movie as a whole and celebrating the movie and like how great it is that Mexican culture is represented. Yay! Boo! But the third use of the song is as a villain song. See, that's how versatile this song is that it's used by the villain at the beginning, and we don't even know that it's a villain song. And what makes it a villain song isn't that he's singing about his plans or how evil it is. It's that we think it's just showing how great of a person he is by singing that song, but then when we look back on it in hindsight after we watch the movie, we realize, oh wait a minute, he stole that song. He doesn't deserve that song. He didn't deserve to sing that song because it wasn't for him. And he's singing it for a different purpose than it was intended. And so it becomes a villain song in hindsight. So that makes it the most subversive of these villain songs. And then we have the final villain song, the song from Tommy Wiseau. Now I know this might be a little arguable, because is Tommy Wiseau a villain? Like, isn't the Disaster Artist about being best friends with him through thick and thin? Like, why are we labeling him as the villain? Well, you see, it's out of dramatic irony, because he kept insisting that he is not destined to play the villain in movies. He's destined to play the hero, or at least that's what he believes. He refuses to see himself as the villain. The character that is the most in denial of being a villain is the villain. And we see that all throughout the movie. Maybe not towards the end of the movie, but he definitely is the villain, if there is any. Well, besides Judd Apatow. But Judd Apatow doesn't get a musical number, as Tommy Wiseau does. Although you have to pay attention. You probably are thinking at home, you're probably thinking like, oh, I saw that movie and I don't remember him getting a musical number. Well, watch it again and you'll see in the club scene where he's jamming to the 90s beats, you know, to the 90s disco dances. There is a song that he sings to, and that's enough to qualify. That is enough to qualify. He even sings it during the credits, so he gets a reprisal of that song. And he sings it very, very poorly. But that doesn't mean he won't win, because that's the whole point of that character. Not just the character, but the man in real life. The whole point, the whole reason why he's successful is because he's a fuck-up. So, of course, he would embody that in the song by fucking up the song, too. Alright, let's see here. Who do I have my money on? I would say Ernesto's song. I would definitely say Ernesto's song because of how versatile it was. It wasn't just a villain song. It was like a sad song and a feel good song and a villain song. It was a 3-in-1. It was a threefer.
Tempest!
I went for the mainstream pick. I should have gone for the underdog. I'm not a conformist.
Oh man, I thought for sure that I would win because I had a musical number. I did a musical number. Every adult I talk to keeps telling me that it does not count because I did not sing during the song. I just danced to it. I just danced to the music. I didn't sing it. But you tell that to my pet gerbil. You tell that right to my gerbil and break his little hamster heart. And then everyone keeps telling me also that the reason why I shouldn't expect to win is because I'm not nominated. And I don't understand that. They keep telling me things I don't understand. Don't they know that I only care about things that I do understand, etc., etc.?
Okay, so as you just saw from that list of musical villains, you probably noticed a huge snub. And that snub, of course, was the villain of The Greatest Showman. Now, the reason why we did not include that villain is because he was actually one of the few characters who did not get a musical number in that movie. And it's a real shame too, because that could have been awesome. I mean, all of those musical numbers in The Greatest Showman are like over the top and are just laughably ambitious and just way too good for this movie's credit. And so that would have meant that if we had a villain song, oh god, that might have been the best villain song ever. It would have been just awesome as all fuck. But unfortunately, he didn't get a number. He was just really just embodying the people who don't like the movie, which is why I really liked him. And the only thing that was irredeemable about him was that he didn't sing. And so it's another case of Valerian. I mean, the only good parts of The Greatest Showman are the musicals. And since he wasn't in any of those parts, oh, I'm afraid he had to get his butt kicked out. I'm sorry about that. All right, here we go. The big two. These are the two big ones. The best villain and the worst villain. So this next award is not meant out of respect. It's meant out of insult. It's a big fuck you. And I can't think of two better villains to present this award than the two fuck-ups from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, not the 1991, Bebop and Rocksteady. I can't believe this shit. Why on earth would they ask us to present the Stupidest Villain Award? That would imply that we are stupid.
Yeah, we are the smartest villains that I know. You are a frickin' genius, and I'm not too shabby with the intelligent, educational, education either. I know a lot of things. Like, I know for a fact that we have giant penises.
Yeah, you know for a fact, because you trust me when I tell you that.
Yeah, and I also saw it.
Wait, when did you see my penis?
I mean, never mind, I didn't see your penis. I didn't see your penis at all.
You broke the guy code, okay? The guy code clearly states that one guy is not supposed to see the other's penis unless he gave consent. And I did not give you consent.
Hey, you saw my ass, so I thought we would be even.
That is not the same thing. That is completely different. The ass and the penis are on completely different ends of the spectrum. They do not compare.
Oh, really? And why is that?
You can see an ass on television, regular cable television, but you have to pay extra if you want to see a big old floppy dick.
Well, let's put that to the test right now. I am gonna expose myself for all of the viewers to see, just to prove my point.
No, you won't. Like hell you will.
Oh no, it's our mama.
Oh no, this is really embarrassing.
You two should be ashamed of yourselves. You two had a responsibility to present the award for Stupidest Villain, and instead you devolved the conversation into talking about penises. Now, both of you apologize to the nice fat man who gave you this job.
Sorry, Blob.
And you need to apologize to me too for embarrassing the shit out of me in front of whoever the hell watches these videos.
Sorry, Superfly Mama.
You're damn right you're sorry. Now you two present the awards like a couple of good-ass children, or I'll smack you upside the head, and I don't care that you have a really tough hide. I'll use my acid that I'll spit out of my fly mouth, and it's gonna go right through your skin, and then I'm gonna slap you. I'm gonna slap you real good. Then I'm gonna do the same thing to your ass, and they won't censor me because that can be on TV.
See, I told you.
You shut the fuck up and just go ahead and do it.
Yes, Fly Mama. From the Mummy remake, Princess Amanette.
From Cars 3, Jackson Storm.
From Transformers 5, Quintessa.
And from the Dark Tower, we are the Men in Black. Do-do-do, do-do-do-do.
No, it's not that type of Man in Black, you dumbass.
What the fuck did I just say?
Oh good, I just got a text.
No, that is mighty disrespectful. That is not award show etiquette.
But it's a really great job opportunity. I've just been summoned to go to Africa. Some kind of country called Wakanda.
Wakanda? What's that poor-ass country want with you?
Apparently, it turns out that they're not as poor as we thought, and they need me for some kind of war or something.
Huh? You've been drafted?
Kind of. Apparently, it's a call for all rhinos.
My baby, he's moving up in the world. I'm so proud of you, baby, my baby.
Thanks, Superfly Mama.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I've been drafted too.
Oh, really, Bebop?
Except I didn't get drafted into the war. I've been drafted into a soccer team full of cavemen. I'm gonna play soccer with cavemen. But they don't call it soccer. They're from the UK. So I need to respect them and call it football. Even though you and I both know that football is something different.
Oh, that's hilarious. I definitely got the better job. Ow! What the hell was that for?
Don't you be disrespecting your brother. He might have not as good of an opportunity as you, but he's doing his shit. You don't need to compete for my love, alright? I love both of you. I love both of my babies.
Oh, we love you too, Fly Mama.
Yeah, we love you so much.
Well, if you love me, then why the fuck don't you just do what I say and present the winner already?
The winner is...
I've been waiting all night for this. Who was the worst of the worst? What was it, Princess Amanette? I mean, she's not all to blame for how sucky the Mummy movie was. I mean, she's just a victim of Tom Cruise. Blame Tom Cruise for basically taking over her mantle as the Mummy of the franchise. Which, by the way, is whitewashing. Definitely whitewashing, like, oh, screw you, lady from a different country that has a different race than me. I'm Tom fucking Cruise, and I'm gonna be the Mummy of this franchise. Me, I'm Tom Cruise. And that is my impression of Tom Cruise. Maybe if she stood her ground better and was like, no, no, Tom Cruise, I'm not letting you take over my mantle, then she would be one of the good villains of the night instead of the sucky ones. Well, but who else do we have here? We have Jackson Storm. He wasn't really that sucky. I mean, Cars 3 only seems good because it's not Cars 2, but that's not really saying much because it's still very underwhelming and unsatisfying. But that wasn't Jackson Storm's fault. He served his purpose fine, you know, being the new kid in town who's gonna replace the hero. Most of his insults aren't even like actual insults. They're like backhanded compliments, you know. He makes them think that he's complimenting them, but at the same time, he's making them question themselves. And that's probably the best way to be a bully, to be a mental bully. But maybe the reason why he's on this list is just because he couldn't be good enough for any of the other categories. So I doubt he'll even win this. Like, he won't even win Sucky Villain. That's how sucky he is. Oh, maybe he will win because of that. Oh, it's a vicious cycle. It's a paradox. Oh, God. Oh, I gotta move on quick. Okay, who's next? Quintessa? Oh, Quintessa. Oh, boy. Ugh. Michael Bay probably heard all the complaints that we don't have enough strong females in this franchise, especially in regards to the Transformers. Like, we only had like a few, and they like died like 20 milliseconds after being introduced. So I guess he decided, you know what? I'm gonna make her the main villain of the whole thing. There, you happy? Like, I mean, sure, it's empowering, I guess, because we need equality in regards to villains too, but considering this is the first time this franchise has actually given a fuck about the female robots, this is how you do it? By making them the evil one that manipulates Optimus Prime into being a bad guy? And by the way, a really sucky bad guy of that, he doesn't even do anything. You transformed Optimus Prime into a bad guy who serves you. You make him your slave, and he will literally do anything for you, and he does absolutely nothing throughout the whole movie. And the one time he does do something, he easily snaps out of it, just real easy. Like that's really bad manipulating, Quintessa. That's really bad. And considering that she was barely in the movie, and she would probably be barely in the 6th one, because she'd have to make way for Unicron, whom, by the way, could have been the redeeming value of her. Well, even though I disappointed you guys, here is a way better villain for next time. Unicron! But the reason why it does not redeem her is because that movie's been cancelled. They're pushing the reset button. Although she's not the biggest disappointment of the list. The biggest disappointment is the Man in Black. He's got a really complicated backstory in the book series, in the book series of The Dark Tower. Like, there's just so much mythology, and we don't see any of that in the movie. All we see is just like, oh, he's a bad guy who hates Idris Elba, and then he gets defeated, and then there you go. Like, we don't even barely get any hints about his backstory, and if we did, they were way too cryptic, and that's a real shame, because the Dark Tower franchise, that could have been something. That could have been something huge. That could have been something magnificent. Like it could have been the next Star Wars. I mean, the chances were real slim, but there was a chance, and the fact that it just blew up in everyone's faces that's just sad, really. It's sad. So just because of that, I'd say it's probably him, just because of all the wasted potential. Quintessa! I might be wrong again, but I don't disagree.
Looks like there is an award. We should not have been nominated. And we should be very lucky,
considering that if this was any other M. Night Shyamalan movie of recent, we would have been nominated for sure. The fake monsters from the village would have been nominated. The unseen monster from Lady in the Water would have been nominated. The plants from The Happening would have been nominated. The giant animals from After Earth would have been nominated. And not to mention poor Prince Zuko. Oh, Zuko, Zuko, Zuko. Oh, Zuko.
So you might have noticed that in that last category, it had the most female villains out of any of the categories. I swear that was just a coincidence, okay? That's not our fault. That's the industry's fault. So don't blame us, blame Hollywood for not hiring enough good villains that are female. Hashtag time's up. Let's hope that there's plenty of nominees next year, alright? Alright, so here we go. The final award of the night. And I can't think of a better villain to present this award than the most iconic of all the villains. Not just super, but villains, period. Ladies and gentlemen, a villain who needs no introduction, the Joker!
Hey, I thought you said I didn't need an introduction, so why the fuck did you contradict yourself? It's that type of faulty hosting that would get your ass killed by me, the one and only Joker. And don't let anyone think otherwise. There's been a lot of rumors that there is another Joker out there calling himself Joaquin Phoenix. Ooh, I'm Joaquin Phoenix, and I am going to be a way better Joker because we won't hold back anything. Well, guess what? The only reason why I hold back is because I'm saving the best for the future, alright? I only gave you a little taste of what I'm like back in 2016. That was only to tease you for what I have in store. Oh shit, I got a text from my bae. Oh, what did she say? What did she say? No, I'm not gonna read it now. The point is, I have a nice, steady relationship with Holly. It's going real steady. But that's not because I like her. It's not. I'm just teasing her. Just like I'm teasing the whole audience. Alright? I don't have a thing for Harley. My love isn't real. Fuck you. You don't know me. You don't know me at all. So what was I supposed to do again? Oh, that's right. I'm supposed to present some kind of trophy or something. I don't fucking know. I'm just gonna read what they say on the teleprompter. Best overall villain from Kong Skull Island, Colonel Packard. From Blade Runner 2049, Dr. Wallace. From The Last Jedi, Kylo Ren. And from The Shape of Water, Strickland. Hey, did you guys notice the second guy in that list? I think his name was Dr. Wallace or something. Did you notice how really attractive he looked? I mean, he looked really fine. Like Jesus Christ, he looked real good. Like I actually kind of admire him. I don't know what it is about him. Like something that's very, very warm and like very familiar and warm, very, very familiar. Just an aura about him, just something that makes me wanna fuck him. Just wanna fuck him real good. And maybe he'll help me in my endeavor of murdering Joaquin Phoenix. But first, I gotta announce this winner, I guess. I mean, I don't really care, but here I go. And the winner is...
Oh boy, oh shit, this is gonna be real tricky. I mean, I know in regards to the movies, it might be more obvious which is better than which, but in regards to the villains, it's real close. Like Colonel Packard, he represents ignorance, just the ignorant assumption of it's clear who the monster is and who the hero is. That is the monster, and I'm the hero. So it blinds him, because he just got out of Vietnam. He was just done with Vietnam. And he seemed real sad about that when he was done. And that should be your first sign that this guy probably isn't that much of a good guy. The fact that he's disappointed that he doesn't get to keep fighting in a horrible, horrible war that arguably shouldn't have even happened. And it shows that certain characters who are so sure that they're the heroes, those are the most dangerous, that they're so certain that what they're doing is good that they won't even humor the idea that what they're doing is not for the good. Like, he doesn't even humor the concept that Kong should be alive, that the reason why Kong exists is to keep the habitat in check, to keep the whole ecosystem balanced, and to keep those skull crawlers from over-infesting the whole island and killing everything. He needs to keep them in check. And the fact that this colonel, this military man, won't even acknowledge, like, simple science, like the type of science that you teach kids, that, the reason why we have snakes and the reason why we have spiders is to keep the amount of bugs in check, to keep that down. That's why we need them. That's why you shouldn't kill them. That's what you teach kids, and this guy won't even take it. He's like, no, your logic is stupid. My logic is right. And isn't that the most villainous type of mentality right there? Sure, his death might have been played up for laughs, but he sure does make people scared about, like, whether or not we do have people like this in real life. And like it or not, the answer is yes. Yes, we do. And that is a good quality in a villain, the ones that make us think. However, he's not the only one that embodies that. Another one that does is Strickland. He's also like that, to a T. Maybe, like, in a smaller scale, but pretty much he also thinks he's the hero. He also refuses to believe that this monster actually deserves to be free. Maybe he isn't as menacing of a villain because he is mostly a pawn for the most part. I mean, he was intimidated by his boss, so he could just be more of a henchman than anything else. But since he is the final character who we have to face at the end of The Shape of Water, he does serve as our main antagonist. But since a good part of his motivation is that he's doing it out of fear for a higher power, that does sort of make him less of a villain, just a wee bit, and so that might be what costs him. The fact that there are some strings being pulled right there, and plus he didn't even want to kill the creature at the end when he realized that it was a god. But we don't know for certain because he was immediately killed the moment he thought to himself, "Wait a minute, is this a god? Am I seriously about to kill a god? Holy shit!" And then he got punched the fuck out. And then there's Dr. Wallace. Now Now, don't get me wrong about Dr. Wallace. He was really great, and they managed to make sure that he wasn't just a repeat of the previous Doctor of the Blade Runner franchise, Dr. Tyrell. Dr. Tyrell wasn't as much of a villain as he was just an opportunist, who was way too ambitious for his own good. But the difference is that Dr. Wallace knows that. And he wants that power to create things. You know, he loves the idea of creating things just to immediately kill it. Like, that's like the worst case scenario is like human beings getting too much power in the universe. That's how you get apocalypse and like New World Order and shit. If you can just make whatever you want and destroy it just as easily. And that's what he does with a couple of replicants. He does that. And I wish I could say that the fact that he does live at the end of the movie, he does survive the movie, that should have made him even better of a villain. That he's still around, he's still there, he wasn't defeated. We never saw him get defeated. His right-hand woman got defeated, but not him. He's still alive. I mean, sure, he probably assumes that Harrison Ford is dead now, but still, he can still do his evilness. Like, it might be a little bit harder now, since he doesn't have access to the secret offspring of Harrison Ford, but the bottom line is that he's still alive, and that should be used as power to him, and it just isn't. We don't see him again. We only see him when he thinks his plans are going to work, but we never see his reaction to the failure. And I can understand why, because they want to make their own standalone story, so if we saw him react to the death of his henchman, then we would have been like, oh shit, that means we're gonna get a third Blade Runner movie, I can't wait! They didn't want you to wait for another one, they just wanted to tell their own story and have it conclude. And even though that's good for the movie, it's not good for the villain, because it just makes it feel like we forgot about him. Like oh, Dr. Wallace who? I don't know who Dr. Wallace is. And so that's why he probably won't get it, because the movie stopped caring about him. But do you know which movie didn't stop caring about its villain? The Last Jedi. Oh boy, I can hear it now. All of the triggered people are gonna be like,
The Last Jedi, it killed my family, it murdered my parents, The Last Jedi fucked me in the ass, The Last Jedi molested me.
no it didn't. What The Last Jedi did was The Last Jedi subverted expectations because it didn't want to be repetitive, okay? It wanted to be its own story that continued the story instead of just going in circles over and over again just for the sake of making you feel sexually pleased with yourself, alright?
But I wanted Lord Snoke to be a character from past lore. I wanted him to be important. He had to be exactly like Palpatine.
If he was, that would have just been really frustrating. Like, oh, why are we getting another Palpatine? So the fact that he got killed showed us like, oh shit, they decided to do The Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi in the same movie. So that means we don't know what to expect in the third one. We have no idea now that Snoke is dead. That's what that death meant. So I'm glad that he's not the nominee here. I'm glad that it's Kylo Ren, because Kylo Ren represents something we haven't seen in these movies. He represents uncertainty. He represents being flawed, a flawed enemy. Like, if you have a villain that's completely organized and completely all together, then he's going to be predictable. He's going to be easy to defeat, because you can see every move from him coming. But when you have an unpredictable villain, and a villain who's not all the way there, who keeps making mistakes, that right there, that is very concerning. That right there is a very intimidating villain. You know, you don't know what he's gonna do. Oh, well, if he's capable of mistakes, then it should be easy to defeat him. It should be real easy. But keep in mind all this power he has, and all this weaponry he has. Even if he fucks up, there's still a good chance that the rebellion will get screwed over by that fuck up. He's like an even more threatening Tommy Wiseau. He even looks like Tommy Wiseau. He's Tommy Wiseau. And that is why I think Kai Swole Rin is going to take it all. He's gonna take it all. Mark my words. And I swear this is not just to stick it to all those butt hurts. It's also because I legitimately believe that.
What the fuck? What the fuck's going on? This guy isn't Dr. Wallace. He isn't even one of the nominees.
Wait, what? Oh boy. I guess I'm gonna have to get up there to sort this out. Ooh, this might be worse than announcing the wrong name. Fox News is gonna have a field day with this one.
Someone who was not nominated has won?
Oh man, does that mean we're gonna win, etc.?
I don't think we should get our hopes up too high, but yes, I suppose this does mean we will win.
Oh, thank God. I was afraid that all of the disappointment from the night was gonna trigger the beast. I would be really disappointed if the beast ruined my outfit that I painstakingly put together for this occasion.
Well, as long as we win, the beast will not make an appearance.
Oh wow, this is real, huh? Wow, I can't believe it. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, what's more villainous than to unexpectedly win this category while not being nominated? Like, that's genius. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner is... DJ!
How could DJ win? He wasn't an actual villain. He was a supporting character. Not that I care for anything.
Well, you see, Joker, the reason why he won was because he did the most villainous thing you could possibly ever do. Remind the audience that sometimes maybe it's not black and white. Maybe there is a lot of gray areas. And that's not just to say that he's a gray area, it's that that's his viewpoint. There are no heroes. There are no villains. All that matters is that you survive the galaxy. And that's what he does.
But wouldn't that disqualify him or something?
This movie franchise has been so devout at the idea of black and white that now that we do have such a character that's in that gray area, it's really jarring. And isn't that the most villainous thing you can do? Not only win an award you weren't nominated for, but also shatter the status quo of a whole franchise. So during The Force Awakens, everyone was singing the song, I'm Solo, I'm Han Solo, I'm Han Solo, Solo, Solo. But now everyone is gonna sing to a different tune. Someone kill the DJ, shoot the fucking DJ. Someone kill the DJ, shoot the fucker down. Someone kill the DJ, shoot the fucking DJ. Someone kill the DJ, shoot the fucker down.
Oh, the DJ is not the one who needs killing.
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a successful first night of the annual Villys Awards. I have been your host, Frederick do?
Oh, no, you don't. This program will not end until I get my award.
Hello. You must be Mr. Horde, right? The Horde, if I may be so casual.
Yes, we are the Horde, but you are only speaking to the beast.
Hey, Joker, did you think you could help me out a little bit here?
Nah, fuck you.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, there you go, the gracious Joker. Jesus Christ.
Don't pin this on him. You are the reason why we did not win.
We were very clear about the requirements for these awards.
Yes, it had to be movies that this channel saw, which means they did not see our movie.
You mean Split? Oh, I saw Split. We all saw Split.
Then why was it not nominated?
We had a bunch of rules, and one of them was that we could not qualify fellow supervillains.
You think that we are supervillains?
Yeah, well, why wouldn't we?
There has never been a video dedicated to us.
Oh, I get it now. You and all of the other bald guys in the Horde are disappointed. You're disappointed that you never got a post-defeat.
Exactly! We were waiting for it for so long, but that little, sad, pathetic old man ignored us. He skipped us.
Well, you see, the reason why he skipped you is because he would have spoiled to the whole community that you are a supervillain. And isn't that the twist of the movie? No one knew beforehand that your movie took place in the same universe as a beloved superhero film. So if we did a post-defeat, then that would have ruined it for people who hadn't seen it yet. That's why we laid low about it.
Then why did he not tell us?
He wanted to be a surprise when your sequel finally came out, because by then it will be public knowledge, and everyone will know.
Oh.
So we really do get a second chance?
Yeah, now our sequel will get the post-defeat.
Oh, don't worry, you'll get one. But since the host disappeared tragically, we had to find a replacement, but I wasn't a part of that decision, and frankly, I think the new guy is kind of a dick.
That's okay, Blob. I've handled a couple of dicks before.
Oh, real mature, Hedwig. Real mature.
Well, that's it for me. This has been the first annual Villys Awards. I'm going to Disneyland! Or Disney World, I haven't decided yet. But before I go, the only thing left to do is end the ceremonies the same way the Oscars did. By giving someone a jet ski.
Oh, I want the jet ski. I want it.
We're gonna have to disinfect it first.
That is our jet ski, right?
Well, you see, we were actually gonna give it to... we were gonna give it to you.
hear something? It sounds like a jet ski. Who could possibly be that? Oh, fuck!